Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. I'm a little sick, so at any point if you hear me sniffling or something, I can't help it. I think at some point someone must have coughed in my face. People on the train are usually pretty gross. We have an unprecedented event currently taking place. I'm sure you must have seen at some point a number of memes going around talking about millennials constantly being faced with like life-altering news just about every single week, and this is no different. The cryptocurrency space, as we've been going over, every analyst has discussed the possibility and probability of April, May, and June being fantastic months for the cryptocurrency market. If you weren't here, that's the old news. Just about every other day, there were a number of analysts, this person, that person, etc., talking about where the cryptocurrency market is going to go, being relatively hyper bullish on the next 3 months or here on until basically around summertime when we were going to get some new predictions. The issue just happens to be, and there's a dark side and a light side and a rainy day and the gigantic silver lining, which I'm going to try and also get to. The issue currently right now is the tariff discussion. If you somehow managed to miss it, you're amazing and you're a genius. I don't know how exactly you did it. Tariffs against literally the rest of the world have come out from the United States. The problem is that not only were these tariffs unnecessary, they're also bringing down the entirety of the world's economy. This puts the cryptocurrency space once again in a very weird spot because a lot of people literally have no idea where things are going to go or what the outcome of all these things are. If we can talk realistic here and also a light little tinfoil hat kind of conversation, you have different sides of where people think or what they think is actually taking place. A large amount of people believe that this is actually being done on purpose, and that faction also splits into two different categories. You have people who think that the tariffs are done on purpose to crash the world economy because one side believes that Trump is actually trying to get us back to a 2008, 2009 kind of situation where prices fall so much across all assets that basically rich people have a huge opportunity to accumulate these assets once again. It's a little slimy, but it seems to actually be the most realistic at this point just because of the news. If you weren't here at the end of last year, we had like 2 days where this woman was talking about things in the market. And she was saying that it sounds impossible to believe, but a number of rich people are kind of like, she used the word salivating for 2008, 2009 prices again. It was the most opportune time in history for these people to literally buy up everything. We went over, remember we were talking about it. We went over this Chinese company who went to Detroit and literally bought up like 30 blocks by 30 blocks for a couple $1,000s because it was all abandoned, yada, yada. They made it into a new housing complex, money, all those kinds of things. So one of the ideas is that this is happening, namely because he wants prices lower for him and his friends, which sucks for everyone else who doesn't have money. But it also lends to the idea, I'm sure you've seen maybe some information about Warren Buffett in the last couple of days. I think the news is that he's sitting on $300 billion right now. Around November and December, he began to sell off his stock positions. And now basically he's waiting for the market to crash even further. This is what the people think. And therefore he can buy up a bunch of stuff and basically make $1 trillion from these purchases. The other side basically think that this is happening as like a bit of a power play, basically showing that he can crash the market, he can move things down, all in an effort to basically try and get the Fed to lower interest rates. The idea of lowering interest rates is that the entire economy would then boom, as cryptocurrency prices would then also boom as well on the actual knock-on effect. The problem, once again, my friends, is that the tariffs are currently nonsensical. You would normally see a tariff of potentially 1%, 2%, maybe a 5% in a very extreme category. However, if you somehow once again didn't see it over the last, it's been 3 days as we move into the new week. Basically, there were trillions of dollars worth of value that were wiped away from the stock market because of this move. We already had whispers of getting into a recession before all of this. The economy wasn't and hasn't been doing as amazingly as people like to believe. They typically look to the stock market as an indicator for how the economy is doing, and it's not the actual thing. Jobless numbers are up. We keep hearing that new jobs are being created when no one's actually hiring for jobs. You usually have some kind of a tax incentive as a company to say that you're actually looking to hire people, and then you simply don't hire anyone at all. There's also other things where people are just trying to gather a large amount of people's information in order to, it's across the board. Food prices keep rising, petrol prices keep rising, housing prices keep rising, rent keeps rising. Car prices keep rising, especially with these new tariffs. The prices are expected for cars to raise by $10,000 to $15,000. That's not a joke. You can also look that up as well. So, as we move into the new week, the expectation is that currently, at the time of me making this video, that markets are basically going to slump a lot further, and that this slumping will kind of continue over the course of the next couple of weeks, unless we hear that the tariffs in any way, shape, or form are going to be rolled back or halted, which is just another power play as well. If these tariffs end up going through, I believe the ones for the United States begin, or rather the ones that he initiated, I think they begin on the 9th, if I'm not mistaken. And then China has also announced that they're also making tariffs, and those I think begin on the 10th of April. So it's just a lot going on at the exact same time. The other problem is that all the banks, all of them, not some of the banks, all the banks announced a while ago that they foresaw some kind of a recession by the end of this year, last year. So last summer, they were all saying it's a lot of an economic slowdown. Remember, we went over in a video, for those of you who didn't see the nonsense, a number of banks were announcing that people weren't spending as much as the banks wanted them to. Keeping in mind that we are meant to be consumers. We're not meant to actually have money or save money or invest. Part of this system, we are meant to be consumers. We're meant to work 9 to 5, make money, pay rent, buy frivolous things, have no money by the end of the month, and continue that cycle. And basically, people are starting to save. Surprise, right? As I've been saying for about a couple of years now at this point, if you haven't already done so, make a savings account. Stop wasting time. Start saving money. If you have stuff inside of your house that you don't want, that you don't need, sell it, get rid of it, and put that money into a savings account. No one knows what the future holds, and you need to be prepared as a just in case. So with consumer spending slowing down, there's also like an issue with like people not buying as many luxury goods right now, which is also taking shape around the entire world because people don't need these things in the first place. Not many people are buying homes because everyone's waiting to see exactly what's going to happen with the economy, and also food prices and yada, yada, yada. It looks like because of these current tariffs that basically the recession is going to be accelerated, and we might actually see it by summertime. JP Morgan Chase has warned that the tariffs are going to trigger what they call self-inflicted pain and a United States recession, with spiraling inflation, collapsing earnings, and vanishing credibility risking a global economic unraveling. I know that a lot of times it's very easy to not want to deal in reality, but this is what's currently happening. A lot of countries are moving away from the idea of America entirely. This isn't a joke. I'm just giving you the actual world news as it's currently happening. And the problem is, a lot of industries are already beginning to, if you haven't seen a lot of the news recently, a lot of the industries that are currently within the United States are currently in talks with a number of other companies and agencies, what have you, in Europe and within Asia as a whole, to try and move their businesses there. The companies are constantly firing people. There's no one really hiring right now. You can even look at YouTube videos for like a hiring crisis that's going on. And the tariffs are also, it's crazy that we have to have this conversation because a lot of people don't know how tariffs work. If you activate a tariff as a country against other countries, you're putting a tax on the other country's goods. Got it. And that tax is paid as it enters the other country. So if the United States has a tariff against country B, and country B is importing stuff into the United States, it's the people within the United States who actually pay that tax and they pay that tariff. That's how it works. So this is why, and I mentioned last year that we were going to see increased inflation, but that was from the idea that the Fed was going to do quantitative easing and lower interest rates. And now we're looking at an accelerated amount of inflation happening simply because of the tariffs. All the banks, not some of them, all the banks are sounding the alarm, and they're saying that if this isn't over with quick, or if this actually ends up happening, there's going to be an enormous amount of risk within, it's doing that face thing again, within the United States economy. JP Morgan issued a stark warning about growing economic risks as Richard Madigan, chief investment officer of the bank, outlined the potential consequences of escalating tariffs in the note titled High Anxiety Market Implications of Tariffs. Madigan described a dramatic shift in the market narrative from optimism to fear as trade tensions deepen and we go from liberation to isolation. If you have not seen, we are in the, it's been, I forgot exactly the last time, probably 2008, 2009, when we actually had these numbers. The last time, go away. It keeps like focusing on this. The last time we had, we fell into extreme fear on the fear to greed index, like the lowest level of extreme fear that we've gone into, because it took a week. I think it took a week to wipe out not only trillions of dollars, but a year's worth of gains in the stock market. It took 1 week to do so. I have a lot of friends who are into stocks, and they were not remotely happy. So what we have right now as we move into the new week, the cryptocurrency market surprisingly held out pretty well. If you didn't see on Friday and Saturday, everyone was expecting a dramatic 30% drop, and the market in Bitcoin actually went up by like 1.1%, which is now leading crypto analysts to kind of reiterate that this might still be the way up over the course of the next 3 months. If this current week we see any kind of like a continued dramatic drop in the stock market, this will probably sweep into the cryptocurrency market as well. I will tell you as a final point, I was just chatting with my friends. I currently still am quite bullish on the market, and I think it's because we have 9 months left in the year. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds potentially even idiotic. What I will then add once again is that if the cryptocurrency market hasn't properly recovered, I mean, by the time we get to July 1st, if we don't have a $120,000, $130,000, $140,000 Bitcoin, if Ethereum's not over $3,000 or $4,000 by the 1st of July, then I think it's time to panic. But as of now, I still have a lot of faith in the market where I think it's going to go this year. Yeah, recession fears are high. They're not even like, we were talking about it for the last couple of months. You know, they were like panic symbols, but no, people like think like by the time, if this continues, by the time we get to December, it's going to be like full on depression, like depression. Well, I wish I could have brought you some brighter news, but that's just where the world currently is. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day. I hope you've all been saving money. Hope you all been putting money to the side. Hope you all have a savings account. Sell stuff in your house, because everyone has stuff in their house that they don't really need. Get rid of it. Sell it and put that into a savings account, because it's probably gonna get realer. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.